In 1985, Dr. George Bagby, an orthopedic surgeon from Spokane, Washington, responded to a call from the Prosthetics Outreach Foundation and traveled halfway around the world to donate his surgical skills in the impoverished nation of Bangladesh. While there, he developed a deep friendship with fellow surgeon Dr. Ruhal Haq. Neither man knew at the time that out of the seeds of their friendship would grow an impressive humanitarian project.
And so periodically when I'd go back over there every year approximately, why he would say, well, look, I can't meet you because I'm going to go back to my hometown and just see some patients out of my home. And he said, I didn't get the word, and finally dawned on me it was Nalta.
This is a small place in a village where there is no medical facility, and I see patients with broken bones, I see patients with some kind of crippled diseases like club feet and other things, but I cannot treat them. So I was mentioning to him that it's one of my wish that in my future dream I would like to build a little consulting room there so that I can have an x-ray of somebody who has broken his leg or broken his arm, and I can put a plaster on.
Located in southwest Bangladesh, nestled against the Indian border, the village of Nalta ekes out a meager existence growing rice and raising shrimp. But like most of Bangladesh, the people of Nalta are some of the poorest in the world, and health care services and medical facilities were virtually non-existent.
The only medical facility at the time would have been Dr. Haq's clinic, which was really his house.
Bangladesh government provides for health care for all of its citizens, but that doesn't go very far when you realize that the per capita spending on health care is $6 annually.
There's no Social Security. There's no Medicare. There's nothing that supports these people unless they are industrious themselves.
Dr. Bagby made regular trips to Bangladesh for the next 10 years. Then one day in 1995, Dr. Haq came up with an interesting proposition.
He said, say, Bagby, I want to start a little hospital in Nalta, Bangladesh, his hometown, and could you help me? And I said, well, okay, and I more or less reached in my pocket and gave him some money, and one thing led to another. It was primarily enough money to build the hospital.
Constructing a hospital on the deep river deltas of Bangladesh in the heart of the Third World presented many challenges, but persistence, patience, and the continued generosity of the Bagby family paid off. The hospital opened its doors in the year 2000.
The hospital is a general hospital with an emphasis on orthopedics and a prosthetics and orthotics center, which is a part of the Prosthetics Outreach Foundation. It's a 30-bed hospital with 2 operating theaters. It includes an eye clinic and a dental lab, has a pathology department and an x-ray department. And it's a wonderful place where they can get the best medical care that's available in Bangladesh. And they can get quality care in a sanitary environment with people that are really dedicated to helping them.
But George Bagby did not stop with just funding the hospital. A man gifted with charm as well as tenacity, Dr. Bagby widely employed one of his best non-surgical skills, arm twisting.
George is a great fellow to work with. You have to be very careful when you're around him, however, because he is always ready to ask you to volunteer.
Dr. Bagby developed cataracts, and he just happened to come to me for his care. And in his style, he's walking out the door and says,
Oh, by the way,
I'm
thinking about building a hospital in Bangladesh. You want to help out? I said, sure.
Could you help us design or set up an eye part of this hospital that I'm in the process of building?
Dr. Bagby wanted to know if I would be interested in starting a dental clinic in some place in Bangladesh.
And eventually, I don't know how it happened, I found myself on a plane to Bangladesh one day.
My interest in going to Bangladesh was directed at one of my early interests in plastic surgery, which was the treatment of burns and the treatment of hand injuries. And there's a plethora of that in Bangladesh. The cooking fires are on the floor, and the children play around the dirt floor around the fire, and they catch your clothes on fire. Their treatment consists mainly of home treatment by the mother, spreading mayonnaise or butter on the wound, and they were not admitted to the hospitals. They would survive or die essentially on their own. There's no physical therapy available, there's no splinting, and so these burns will go on untended and subsequently develop severe burn scar contractures, the likes of which most surgeons have never seen in this country. The most interesting procedure I did was on a young girl who was 15 years old. She had a severe burn scar contracture that involved her neck, and consequently her chin bone was stuck almost down onto the sternum of her chest, and her lip was pulled wide open by this severe stiff scar contracture. And we did a number of operations on her my first trip over. We put a large skin graft across the entire neck. We opened up the previous muscle flap, and we're now able to expand that and get the joints opening up in her neck, and we could pull the chin up, and we placed the skin graft in. So now for the first time since her burn at age 10, she could close her teeth and her lips.
When I got there, my duty was really to kind of take everything out of boxes and the things that I had brought individually and try to put together a little dental clinic. We were using some portable equipment that really all it needed was an air compressor. We took an air compressor, but it ended up having a problem, so we borrowed one from one of the bicycle shops there. And it was a matter of trying to put together things with nuts and bolts and masking tape and duct tape and that sort of thing to makeshift a dental operatory. But when it was all said and done, it worked amazingly well. The dental problems we encountered there were pretty much based upon the person's age. A lot of decay, bad cavities, bad teeth in the younger kids that I ascribed to hard candies and the proliferance of Coca-Cola, that sort of thing. But you get us to the older group, say 50 or above, they had relatively good teeth, but their gum disease was rampant.
Many of the people in the developing countries are young people who've developed cataracts but can't make a living. And so the death rate is high from stepping into a ditch without being able to see it or not being able to gather food. And if we can allow them the ability to see, we've accomplished a lot for that individual. We felt that we should not make our goals too lofty and felt that doing 60 cataracts would probably be in the 9 or 10 day period that we were going to be working about as much as we should expect to do. We thought 30 patients who are blind and do both of their eyes, or 60 patients who are blind and do one eye. The ability to survive and to make a living and to gather food and see one's family is made possible by doing surgery only in one eye. So we elected to do only surgery on only blind people, bilaterally blind, and do one cataract in that individual and make them able to see, to do the things I mentioned, and many other things as well. What else can you do as an ophthalmologist it's more rewarding than making a blind person see again, let alone a whole bunch of blind people.
You develop friendships. We become just people from different cultures.
I just can't describe how we were welcomed and cared for, and how everybody, no matter how little they had to give, wanted to share whatever it was they had with us.
It was really heartwarming for me to see how much they loved Dr. Bagby there. I mean, there were thousands of people in the street greeting him and throwing flower petals on. I mean, he was like a rock star. There was just this outpouring of love for my dad.
If you ask me to say something to George and his family and the people of Spokane and his friends of Spokane, my words will fail, whether I speak in Bangla or whether I speak in English. There is no way I could express my gratitude and the people of Nalta and the surrounding and their gratitude to George and the people like you who makes all the difference.
We believe things happen for a reason. Our good fortunes and misfortunes have provided us with experiences that enrich our lives.
There are a few times in our lives that we meet an individual like Dr. Bagby that inspires us to the extent that our lives are forever changed.
We have the same medical needs, we have the same religious needs, we have the same housing needs. It's just that they need more, and we have it all.
What I benefited the people in Bangladesh was very, very small, and sometimes I don't know if I've done anything to help them, but what they have done for me will never be forgotten.
And they live on about $1 a day, and yet they're happier than we are. And so that's a tremendous gift to make that discovery, that it isn't stuff that makes people happy. It's family, and it's the other values that are more important.
And some people say, when I talk to them about trips like this, well, isn't it kind of like spitting in the ocean? And I say, well, you should come with me sometime and just see that one person and see the effect that you have on their life.
And I did have to come to terms with the fact that we weren't going to make a great deal of change, but we were going to change individuals' lives as we could.
So 100% of the money goes towards the people who need it, and the people who need it would otherwise suffer tremendously.
It is we, the volunteers, who benefit the most from this contribution. And all of us come home feeling very euphoric, and we've really done something unique that chances are we'll never do again in our lives.
The hospital is this oasis of hope.
I shall pass through this world once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not deter nor neglect, for I shall not pass this way again.